Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Philosophy and religion is one of the pillars of my brand, so I thought I would start doing a series on Bible stories and my personal take on what they actually mean. You know, Bible stories have a lot of layers of meaning, metaphorical meanings, hidden meanings, double meanings. So I want to talk about a couple of them and what I think they actually mean and the message that they're sending. So today we're going to start off with the story of Samson and Delila, which, if you know anything about the Bible, Samson was a notorious strong man. He was born with great strength. And the story goes that his parents could not have children, and they prayed to God and vowed that if they had a child or a son, that the son would be dedicated to God from birth, even from the womb. And they had a son, and he was what is known in biblical terms as a Nazirite. He took the Nazirite vow. He was dedicated as a Nazirite from birth. And the Nazirite vow comes with several restrictions, one of which is that they don't cut their hair, which he didn't. They're not supposed to drink wine. They're not allowed contact with the dead. There's a number of other restrictions. And they dedicate themselves to God and to a particular mission, and that is what Samson did. And the mission that he was assigned was to attack and destroy the Philistines, which were the enemies of the Jewish people at the time. And he performed great feats of strength and defeated the Philistines numerous times and distinguished himself in a lot of different ways. But he had one fatal flaw. He had a thing for women, and he especially had a thing for Philistine women. And as the story goes, he got together with Delilah, who was a Philistine woman. She was not the first. And she actually was on a mission from the Philistine priests to find out the secret of his strength. And she did. She seduced him. She nagged him night and day until he finally told her that the secret to his strength was in his hair. And while he was asleep, she cut off his hair. He was captured. He was enslaved, blinded. And in the final act, he was brought out to the Philistine temple so the people could laugh at him and humiliate him. And he cried out to God to give him the strength to destroy the Philistines one last time, and God restored his strength, and Samson pushed over the pillars supporting the temple and killed everyone inside and on the roof. But if we go back and look at the story, we understand that this was never about his hair. His hair is actually a metaphor for his dedication to God. The hair is symbolic of the vow that he took to carry out the mission that God gave him to carry out. In the story, he lost his strength when he lost his hair, but in actual fact, he lost his strength because he lost his purpose. He lost the ability to follow the plan and carry out the mission that God had given him. He got together with a Philistine woman who was his enemy. His whole mission, the whole point of the vow, was to destroy these people. So he already knew that he was doing the wrong thing. And the strength that is referred to in the story is not talking about physical strength. That's metaphorical as well. The strength is the commitment to carry out the purpose for which God sent him to the world in the first place. Samson never would have been born if not for this purpose. And he dedicated himself to it. He took a vow to it. He committed himself to these restrictions, and he failed. He broke the vow, and that's when he lost his strength. He lost his freedom, he lost his sight, and eventually he lost his life. But as the story goes, Delilah didn't take his strength when she took his hair. She took his strength when she seduced him and made him deviate from the path that he knew he was supposed to follow. That's when he lost his strength. Losing his hair was incidental. And after he was captured, when he was in prison, he repented. He turned back to God. He begged for forgiveness. He acknowledged the mistakes that he had made, and he recommitted himself to the path that God had given him. And as the story goes, while he was in prison, his hair regrew, which is a metaphor. His hair regrowing is metaphorically symbolic of him recommitting himself to the path. It was never about his hair. And he, at the moment of his death, when he cried out to get his strength back, if it was only his hair, if his strength returned when his hair grew back, he wouldn't have had to cry out because he would have already had it. He only got the strength when he cried out to God for the express purpose of one last time carrying out his mission and actually doing the job that God had given him to do. That's why he got his strength back. It was never about his hair. The hair it's a symbol. So this is just a short video today. I hope that you get something out of it, and I'll see you next week.